What's up, world? This is We Need a Fifth. This your man Mo. Got my man P on in the building.
What up?
Got my man Hill on the line.
In transit.
And welcome to back, my brother from another mother, Kyle. What's going on, man?
Knicks in the playoffs. Everything is all right with the world.
Ooh, wow, you want to start off this show just like that? You just go right to the negativity, right?
This is just my record. This is
there.
my greeting. This is my greeting right now. And whenever I see somebody, they ask me how I'm doing, I'll say the Knicks are in the playoffs. Everything is all right with the world.
Wow. That's
always good to have somebody from the entertainment field to help us out on the sports.
Yeah.
It's good to see y'all, though. Good to be here.
Yes, sir. Everybody loves a good joke. Fellas, the NCAA tournament happened last weekend. UConn Huskies, men's national champions. This is their fifth NCAA tournament championship, if I'm not mistaken. Mr. Hurley,
Ollie Hurley, and three with
Calhoun.
Mm-hmm.
I think
so.
Maybe two of them impressive. Wow. 3 Snorfest.
Wow, we're going to start there. And see, I was going to start with, have they officially punched their ticket into the blue blood territory? Are they? Should they be considered a blue blood school as far as basketball is concerned?
Yeah, I think
at this point,
because for our lifetime, right? They've won more championships than UCLA, Kansas, right? Like they're more recent blue blood, but yeah, I think this stamps them.
Light blue.
Wow.
I would actually.
So we've seen UCLA win one in our lifetime.
Yes, absolutely.
And so like, traditionally UCLA is there, but in our era of watching basketball, they're regular.
All right, I got Danny Manning and I have Mario Chalmers, right? Was that 2?
Right. And that's the great Kansas Jayhawks. I've seen Connecticut win more championships.
I guess if that's the standard that we're gonna go by for blue bloods, I guess because Carolina and Duke.
I think we need to change the standard of what we consider
blue
blood and whatnot. I think blue blood is really a reference to those schools that were at the top tier, basically in the 60s, 70s, and maybe 80s. This is a whole new generation of schools the past 30 years. I think they need to have a new. They don't even need to be considered blue bloods. They're the next generation of what that was and whatnot. And I think UConn has been the perennial powerhouse in college basketball for the past 30 years. They've won the most national championships in college basketball for the next 30 years. And whatever you want to classify this era as, the top tier teams of this era as, that's what they are. I wouldn't put them in that same category as the blue bloods, because that's talking about generations past and whatnot.
But I kind of agree until I think they usually bring up Duke in that conversation as blue bloods, and their success is fairly recent, especially compared to North Carolina at UNC. You know what I mean?
Fair.
But and I understand what you're saying. Like I think Duke and UConn are more like they're the new era elite teams, but like you said, blue blood is more like it predates us basically.
Mm-hmm. The Carolinas, the Kansases, the UCLAs, and all of those programs were built in or around the 60s and that era, and that's why we consider them to be blue bloods. The Dukes, the UConns, these programs developed in the 80s in the 90s. These are the new generation programs and whatnot. If I was a UConn player, I wouldn't even want to be considered a blue blood. Call me something different.
I would match the level of success with increments. I mean, the relevancy of increments of 5. That's what I'm going with. That's why I have Connecticut a perennial powerhouse. I mean, just generationally growing up from the Ray Allen years and the success coming from there, bringing up to now. You have 5 championships within during that time is somewhat impressive. But I don't know why. Maybe because it's in stores that I don't see UConn as a dominant school. I think that's just my bias. But they are, clearly. Look at their success.
You feel like the history isn't there enough?
I just think it's just it doesn't make sense because possibly that's it, but they have so much success to outweigh their history.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're giving me, I mean, like the time frames I have, like the 5-year increments, that's super impressive. Like Connecticut should be a powerhouse school, an easy draw. Like to me, they're just maybe it's so much success because of Gino.
Mm-hmm.
I think if the coaching change never happened and the success continued, I think I would have probably felt different. And that's probably what it is. It's just the coach, and they were able to replace with Ali and then Hurley, and then they won as well. So it's definitely not the system because they're definitely products of Calhoun.
So they don't have a face to it, a la John Wooden, Coach K.
Right.
It's not like, there's not an iconic figure to represent Connecticut.
I mean, Jim Calhoun is it?
No, I mean,
well, Calhoun is, but like Hurley's a microcosm because he's from his dad. Like Hurley's from a coaching tree.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, everything worked out perfectly for him to win this year, but Ali is from that tree of Calhoun. So if Calhoun would have stayed, I think, and then had this 5, I think I probably would have felt differently. I would have seen Calhoun as the Mike Krzyzewski or I mean, to me,
Smith?
he's more, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Heck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that plays a part in it.
Let me ask you guys this. Do you think that the UConn women's basketball team's success has helped to put the UConn men's basketball team where it is as far as, hey, we kind of put them in the blue bloods territory, but not quite, or we don't know how to classify them, but we know that they're not Kentucky or Kansas or something to that effect. Because
there's no correlation. Like women's, men's, you know what I mean? Like one doesn't affect the other in my eyes. That's just me, but
I would just say, just because, hey, UConn women's basketball has been so successful, even in comparison to what the men have been able to do on the national level, they've been able to surpass that to the point where if you were to just compare them side by side, just national championships and stuff like that, someone would say, why are we even going to the men's game?
I agree with you, Mo. I think we should. I mean, if you think about college basketball from a big picture perspective, men's and women's, there is no bigger program than UConn. I mean, they are the standard for college basketball. I don't know why. I don't think nationally it's perceived that way, by the media and by fans, but it probably should. It probably should be. I think maybe maybe the women's program doesn't get recognized as much as it should.
Oh, I was about to say, yeah, that's your, the answer to this. Like, you don't know why. It's because it's women's basketball. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's the reason.
Right.
It's just this.
Right.
It is this. But however you feel about it, that's the reason. If UConn had that same success in men's basketball, you know what I mean? They'll be all over the television. They'll be promoted heavily. I think it's because it's women's basketball. It's just not promoted as much.
Who would you put, if I can ask, who would you put in that top tier? I guess if we want to call the new generation blue bloods, who would you put in that class with UConn?
I would say Duke, because I consider, I know they call them blue bloods, but to me they're recent.
Right.
I was Duke, Villanova,
Mm,
possibly.
that's a
Um,
good one.
Nova
missing
has
the
what,
fourth.
three championships in the last 40 years, right?
Yeah,
hmm
right.
Yeah.
That's impressive because I wouldn't even consider them one of the better teams in the Big East maybe 20 years ago. I would have had Georgetown, Syracuse, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but
and even though this team hasn't been able to punch their ticket or finish the deal, you got to start looking at Gonzaga, Oregon.
Mm.
gotta
You
finish your
know,
breakfast. Gotta finish your
yeah,
breakfast.
and that's the thing. Like, hey, the other teams that you would consider, like, they haven't finished their breakfast. To Pete's point, you know, like I
So
said,
we're looking at like UNC, UConn, Villanova, maybe Kansas.
Well, you said UNC. Well, UNC and Kansas to me are blue bloods.
oh,
Like,
blue, yeah, that's what I would
But
consider.
I think they're teams that would be able to fit into both categories.
you're right. Yeah,
They're traditional blue
bloods,
bloods, and they're teams that have carried success
right.
throughout this next generation as well.
They carry on tradition now, but I agree. I would put them in that elite class up now, but they are
UCLA is a team. I don't think I would put them as a program that's kind of carried on that tradition.
Nah, they're traditional blue bloods, and that's it.
Yeah, like I said, I think I only seen them win one. That was like 95. I want to say 94, 95.
And they still living off
the
the
brothers.
glory of Alcindor.
Yeah,
still living off of the glory of Alcindor.
Yeah.
Wasn't even Abdul. Hey, hit us up on social media. Let us know what you guys thought. Did you watch the UConn championship game? Did you enjoy it? Do you think that UConn is leading the way for the new bloods in college basketball instead of blue bloods? And who would you include in that group with UConn? We've given you Villanova, Duke, and possibly Gonzaga. But do you agree with P that, hey, Gonzaga gotta eat its breakfast before it gets invited to the table? So hit us up on social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit that notification button so you know when the next video is coming out. You can subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. You can also hit us up directly at weneedthefifth@gmail.com. Fellas, I put this second because I felt like we had a little bit more drama around the women's game this year. And unfortunately, a lot of this drama had nothing to do with basketball. LSU, let's get this out. LSU was able to win the championship against Iowa, Caitlin Clark. A lot of controversy after the game. Agent Reese trash talking Caitlin Clark, gave her the "you can't see me" and put a ring on it gestures to Caitlin Clark, and she got a lot of blowback. Notably, Keith Olbermann, he gave her a particularly nasty response and gave a piss poor apology afterwards once he was corrected on several points that he was completely wrong about. First, let me ask you guys, did you guys get to see the game?
Okay. I want to first start off by saying I'm hearing a lot of reports like she's copying John Cena. Shout out to Tony Yayo. Let's give the credit where like John Cena copied that off of Tony Yayo. First of all, it's a little thing, but yeah, let's just do it right, people. Like I don't know what they're doing. I saw the game, and when I saw it, I was like, oh, she's going a little bit too hard. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was just like, okay, you won a national championship, go celebrate. They ready to shake hands. And she went like, noticeably hard. But then you got to remember, she's like a 18, 19, 20-year-old young female. So the emotions got the best of her. I don't see where it's this big global thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think people are making too much out of it. It was poor sportsmanship. It was.
I don't think it's poor sportsmanship. I mean, I think she's a passionate player. I've seen some clips and videos just of her, even from her high school days where she was a trash talker. I mean, that's just part of her game. And we've seen a lot of players come through that's just their game. That's what gets them going. And that's just who they are. I don't think there was anything done in bad taste. Obviously, nothing done that Caitlin Clark hadn't done herself. I mean, she's a trash talker herself. So, I don't think there was any story that needed to. I think it was definitely overblown by probably casual fans who either want to box players into a certain type of way they're supposed to act, or people who just don't watch sports at all and whatnot. So I don't think, I don't think there was anything personally myself done out of bad taste, in that moment. Like, they were about to win the national championship. She'd seen this player that the media has been hyping for months now. And a lot of people, I think, were already crowning Iowa as the champion after their upset of South Carolina. I mean, I don't know. I don't know any other way. I don't know any other way that that Angel was supposed to respond to this moment when it was pretty much all said and done, and it was finally like, here, look at me now, or you can't see me now.
And Kyle, I think I'm in your camp in the sense that I don't think she did anything wrong. One of the things me and P were talking about off air the other day was I just thought that her timing was off. Like real trash talkers, you trash talking during the game, boo boo.
Okay, that's fair.
And the win is your FU mic drop.
Yeah, that's fair.
For her, it was like, right, you won, and now you trash talking. Like, okay, like it came off a little weak to me, but okay, you allowed that. But if you really about it, really wanted to show up, Caitlin, you're supposed to do that in the game after you lay her and say, "Oh, you can't see me," or after you block her shot. "Oh, I'm putting a ring on it." That's what I wanted to see. Not like that, you know what I mean? Like I'm old school.
I think that speaks more.
Like,
but I think that speaks more to the game itself. I mean, Angel didn't have the best game that she's ever had. I mean, she had 15 points, 10 rebounds. I think she didn't shoot too well, if I recall correctly. She got into early foul trouble, and there was a lot of issues that folks had with the referee in this game. So, I think she kind of got taken out. I think she kind of got taken out of the game early on, and didn't really get the opportunity to have that moment until that moment and whatnot. And her teammates. I think I don't want to say her teammates carried her, but
they had at least two of them had career nights.
They did. Like, let's not get it twisted. Her teammates had to, in order for them to be champions right now, those others had to step up.
Yes.
And what you talking about as far as her early foul trouble, and she wasn't engaged in the game early on because of that foul trouble. Hey, they had to step up. If they didn't step up, we'd be talking about Caitlin Clark going to the White House.
Right.
She did have an invitation, but
that still may happen, right?
No, actually,
I know.
I think
Caitlin Clark will
right?
not be going to the White House.
Well, she said herself she wouldn't want to go. It's only for that's something for the winners and whatnot.
And that's game recognized game. And I think one of the things that's been blown out of proportion is Jill Biden is not a basketball fan. People, she's not. She's a Johnny come lately.
No, but somebody dropped the ball because she was there. You know what I mean? She was at the game. Somebody dropped the ball. no way Iowa should have got an invitation to the White House.
No way she tweets that out without somebody else verifying, like, is this okay for you to tweet out? Somebody okayed that. And that person.
If you're telling me she doesn't know what she's doing, well, then the person next to her is supposed to know what they're doing.
And that's why I say, hey, she's not a real basketball fan in the sense that any basketball fan that's been at it for more than 2 years knows that, hey, only the winners go to the White House. And even then, hey, the winners have the opportunity.
I can't let her off the hook because she knew enough to invite. How does she know to invite them then? She know that this is par for the course. You invite people to the White House after they win a national championship. So you do it.
And I think. I think she knows is that
I'm sorry, Mo. It reeks of that participation trophy phenomena that we have going on in society today.
And I think that's what it came from. Or exactly came from, or it's something a little bit more sinister.
Because if Iowa had won, I would love to know if LSU would have got him. I'll leave it there. I'm not so certain that LSU would have got the invitation if they lost.
It's a slippery slope.
Yeah, I'll leave it there.
And that's real because I think that played a part in the blowback that Angel Reese got, in the sense that people were jumping to save America's sweetheart, for lack of a better term. You know what I mean? And jumping to save, poor little old Caitlyn. And it's like, Caitlyn just as much a beast as Angel is. She just lost that night. Because Caitlyn would have been giving her the same thing if she had won, whatnot. And
I think this is a problem women's basketball at the college level, because I haven't really heard this at the WNBA level, but at the college basketball level, I think this is an issue that they're going to have to address. When you think about the characterizations of certain teams in college basketball, how South Carolina's team has been characterized as, how LSU's team has been characterized, and you look at the makeup of those teams, there's something to that and whatnot. You know what I mean? And so then when you look at a situation where Caitlin Clark did the very same gesture that Angel Reese did a week or so ago and didn't get nearly half the attention.
Didn't get any attention.
It didn't get any of the attention. And look, you don't want to jump to conclusions as to why that is, but look, there's a lot of signs and signals that are pointing to a certain direction. And I think women's college basketball, and you see Dawn Staley speaking out about it. You see a lot of coaches, minority coaches speaking out. You see some players actually speaking out about it as well. We need to hear from the NCAA. Somebody needs to kind of jump in front of this and say, look, you guys got to stop doing that, because all of these young girls are great basketball players. They play different styles, what have you, but let's not characterize, one way or the other based on.
We definitely got to give them their flowers. That team really showed improvement. I didn't have them coming out of the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
That's where I was at. And I thought every round after the Sweet 16 was like their championship. And they proved me wrong. Proved me so wrong. Hey, hit us up on social media. Let us know what you guys think. Did you guys get a chance to watch LSU win the championship? What do you think about the Angel Reese blowback and the Jill Biden invite? Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit that notification button so you know when the next video is coming out. Also, don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to this podcast. You can also hit us up directly at weneedfifth@gmail.com. Fellas, want to get to the NBA, and this team recently just lost any opportunity to get into the playoffs. It's official as of last night. They've lost any opportunity to make it to the playoffs. And we got to talk about this. We got to talk about why. Why are the Mavs sub 500 and not making it into the playoffs with Luka and Kyrie? I'll let y'all go. P, talk to me.
Oh, this is simple. The worst part, Scott, they can't stop a nosebleed. Can't guard a statue. That's it.
Kyle?
I think in the simplest terms, yeah, I agree with P. They can't defend. I think if you want to look deeper, they just have deconstructed this team. They've blown this team up and ruined what they were building. And we talked about it off camera. I think it starts up top. I don't know if they're making these decisions based on what they think is the way you build a team or based on how Luka plays. I don't know. I really don't know, but I think defense is their issue. But they just totally messed up this team. They had a lot of the pieces that you need to build towards a winner, and they let a lot of them go. And I don't know how you put that on anybody else but the front office. Look, Dallas traded for Kyrie thinking Kyrie was the type of player that could make up for the lack of defense that they had. And he's not that good of a player. He doesn't.
And Kyle, this is where I would say Dallas honestly thought that. Honestly, if they thought that, then they're idiots. Like, seriously, they're idiots.
I don't know what to tell
I'll be the first one in line. Because, honestly, there might be maybe 4 players that are that good to say, all right, Steph, Kevin Durant, LeBron in his prime, Giannis, it's like, hey, unstoppable.
I mean,
he's going to get me 25 on the back.
I agree.
Kyrie's not there.
He's not there.
And
never been there.
I don't think anybody put him there.
Yeah, but if you
put him there where y'all want to bash him.
Yeah, but if you were to put Durant with Luka on this team, that they have now, they wouldn't go to a championship.
They would go to they would go to the playoffs.
That doesn't matter. Your whole thing is here to get a championship. I don't care about
No, hold on. That's the point we're talking about. They can't even make it to the playoffs with this guy. They can't make it to the play-in.
So
I think that's
I'm not here to listen. I'm not here to argue Kyrie. They have a terrible team. Like they can't play defense. That has nothing to do with Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving can't play defense that well.
You're right.
Like this whole team was dismantled because they have a horrible owner.
You're right, 100% right.
Nothing to do with Kyrie.
Yeah, Kyrie is just is.
Luka doesn't play defense either. So.
No, I mean the owner wanted an asset. He was stupid. He should have kept Rick Brunson and kept his team. That's nothing to do with Kyrie. Kyrie wanted out of Brooklyn. I mean, he wanted to go to LA. I mean, this all has to do with Mark Cuban. I see none of their success hinging on Kyrie Irving or Luka Doncic. His team was flawed when those two were together. No one possibly thought that they would be good. I mean, make the playoffs, maybe. I wasn't surprised they didn't make the playoffs either, but those two players are nice. It's just
did you think they were going to be this? They weren't even close. They were not. I think they were 9-17 after the Kyrie trade. Did anybody expect it to be that bad?
No, I did.
Bro, I mean, to be fair, Golden State is what 9-30 on. I didn't think they'd be 9-30 on the road. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect them not to be this. I don't think Dallas is a good team. I'm not shocked by this.
Yeah, I'm shocked
at all.
I was blinded by the offense, but yeah, their lack of defense definitely was exposed. But I didn't think it was this bad. I thought they had a very good shot at least making the playoffs.
My thing was, hey, they had a poor defensive team before the trade. And then you trade your best defenders who are mediocre defenders in the real world away for Kyrie. You're supposed to be successful with that? Nah, not at all.
Yeah, but you guys don't think they don't have a lack of talent?
Yeah,
I mean talent with them too. Like, I mean, this team is, I mean, forget top heavy. They only have two players to me that I can find that to be offensively tangible. Hardaway is streaky at best, but these two at the top, and then they don't play the greatest D, them too. What did you expect from them? I maybe I've been watching basketball a little bit too long. This team is, I mean, this has Cuban written all over it.
Oklahoma City is better than this Dallas Mavericks
Absolutely,
team.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Give me Shai
Hold
Gilgeous-Alexander.
Hold on. So hold on. You take Shea over Luka and Kyrie?
This year, yes. What is that to discuss?
Now we putting parameters on it this year.
You asked me a question. If you don't want, if you're saying
he had a better, you saying he's had a better season.
Yes, I'll take Shea this year. Yes, absolutely. I have Shea on my team. Yes, I'll take Shea. It's not me going out on a limb saying that I would take Shai Gilgeous-Alexander over them. Now, Kyrie is only because he's long in the tooth. But Kyrie is better than all three of them, period. I mean, he has the hardware to prove it. We'll go semantics whether or not you want to think he didn't lead. I mean, the guy did average about 30 during that whole run.
I did want to ask though, and because we were talking about Dallas's front office, and I wanted to, because technically last night they still were alive for the play-in, and they pretty much sat their whole team last night against a Chicago Bulls team that had nothing to play for. They sat Kyrie. They played Luka for the first quarter. They essentially tanked that game last night so that they could save their draft pick. And we're talking about this front office's inability to build a team around Luka. And I'm just curious how we feel about them just basically giving the season up with 2 games left and them still mathematically alive for the play-in.
Honestly, I think it took them too long to get to this point. To be honest,
you think they should have been tanking earlier?
Why not? Because
so then why make the Kyrie trade?
Dallas is a flawed team because they have as great as but build around Luka. Like what though? That's why I'm lost at. You guys want to build around Luka. Dallas is flawed because they have Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic is the type of player who's going to be ball dominant. His usage rate is going to be extremely high. He's just surrounded with some shooters, and he's not going to get you into what? He'll probably make it to the Western Conference Finals at best. You're not going to be able to match him up with another significant superstar because of the way he is. He's not LeBron.
And honestly,
he's LeBron-ish, but he's more
James
selfish.
Harden? Is he James Harden?
Yes. And you will not get a championship with a player like that. James Harden and Embiid won't win because you're going to have to ask James to be even less selfish. And James is dropping down to 11 dimes, 23 points a game. He's dropped his usage rate a lot, but he has it in him to where he's not his full capability. For Philly to be Philly, James has to be Uber James. And he's deferring to probably the best player in the league right now, which he should. But you need James to go nuts and Embiid to go nuts for them to win a championship. And that can't happen because Embiid's personality won't allow it. And James doesn't want to mess up the apple cart, but they won't win a chip that way.
And
you need James to go crazy.
And to answer your previous question, Kyle, I think Dallas, honestly, they got Kyrie just so that they can keep him away from LA. At this point, because it doesn't make sense why they got Kyrie. Besides, hey, we didn't want him to get with LeBron early and make a championship run this year with LeBron.
But they traded
We didn't.
assets to do that. I
No,
mean, I think they
yes,
traded.
yes,
Did
I
they
mean-
trade first round picks?
No,
Yeah,
they
they
thought
cut
it
their
would,
nose to
no,
spite their
they
face.
thought it would work. They thought this would work. They were wrong, but they thought.
Why? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
You
why?
want to bring someone in to show Luka that you're trying to be competitive too. Like you're not going to just sit around and lose. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I think Brooklyn kept him away from LA. You know what I mean? Like, I think they the
Yeah, true. Yeah, but you need a stupid suitor, and you found one in Dallas. Dallas
Yeah, and
needs a player. I'm trying to think of someone who could play with Luka that would complement Luka's selfish play. Not, I hate to say selfish, but I don't have a better term to say for how he plays. I don't know what player in the league that I can say fits them that way.
Well, Jalen
because
Brunson.
honestly, if
Like,
if they were really trying
Maybe
to
Jalen
be
Brunson.
progressive,
We say
if they
more.
were really trying to be progressive, they would have traded for Kevin Durant instead of Kyrie.
No, I'm not saying it was the right move. Like my whole thing with this whole organization, they might not make the right moves. They have not made the right moves, but they're going to keep making moves. You know what I mean? Like they're not just going to sit. They're not going to stand still and wait for Luka's contract to go, expire and then he leaves. They're going to keep trying to put pieces around him. If they're successful or not, that's a whole nother story.
You're better off building a team around Trae Young than you are Luka Doncic.
They both made it to the conference finals. I think it's a push.
I'm convinced you. I'm almost convinced you cannot build around Luka Doncic. I can't. He's going to be that superstar that I don't see him getting it. I don't know no path to him getting a championship.
I think a lot of this is recency bias because he just made it to the conference finals last year.
And I don't think he'll ever go to a finals. I can't see it.
I hate.
I don't know how. And the guy's talented.
Look, you might want to look on the sidelines because look, whether we want to admit it or not, the person on the sidelines matters. And we seen what the kid up in Milwaukee. We seen what the kid in Milwaukee did after that guy left the sidelines. Might want to get a different guy in Luka's ear, coaching him on a nightly basis.
But this ain't just about J.K. Like Luka's been playing like this before J.K. got to Dallas.
So maybe he's never had a good coach.
Maybe it's not that. Maybe it's just not as like the player that we think he is. Like maybe he's
that's
just
possible too.
as good
that's
as he's going to be, and that's it.
I mean, where do you guys have Luka? Because I think he's good. Like I'm a Luka guy, but
Luka's a top 10 player. He's a top 10 player.
Top 10? Okay. Yeah. So yeah, to me, there's only like I think Mo was saying earlier. Like to me, there's only like 4 or 5 guys that could take you there in the league. You know what I mean? So I
whoa, Luka's a top 10 player, and you think Kyrie is better than? You think Kyrie is better than Luka?
So they got 2 now. For his career, yes.
Okay.
His career, yes, not now. I don't have Kyrie in there. Kyrie hasn't given me anything in the last I don't know what. But I mean, the funny thing is, I mean, you have Kevin Durant in your top 4 that he can take you there.
Yeah, he's definitely a top 5 player. If he could take you there.
Now I have an issue with that. I don't know how.
We get into semantics with Golden State. I understand what you're saying, but
I understand. I don't know what he has proven to show that he can do anything. Well.
I feel like Embiid, Joker, AD are all top 10 players. That doesn't necessarily mean I think they're going to take me to a championship. That's pretty much what I'm getting.
Yeah, like Joker's not right. Top 5 people that can take me to a championship would be I think Embiid can do it. I think Tatum can do it. I think Ja could push it. Steph is a little late, and I think Giannis.
Okay.
After that,
yeah. I mean, we'll see.
It's up for debate. And Steph's a little shaky on his own self.
I feel like Josh is shaky on that list.
Yeah, because Luka's already made it further than him so far. So
I think John might actually go this year.
And I think for me, Embiid is a little shaky for me.
and he's never made it.
I think Embiid has to be motivated to play.
I think Embiid is fine. I literally think Embiid might be the best player in the league. I think Embiid, talent-wise, I think Embiid could be the best player in the league.
Oh, I agree.
From everything that he has,
no
rebounds, offensive standpoint, defense, I think he's the clear-cut best player in the league.
And
I'm not even an Embiid guy.
When he plays.
And
I'm not even a Embiid guy. I don't like Embiid.
Well, I'm an Embiid guy, but I say Giannis is better because of his motor. It's the Giannis AD thing that we spoke about years ago. It's just the motor.
I think they're eons apart. Like offensively, I think it's two different sides of the spectrum. I think Giannis couldn't hold a candle to Embiid.
And they both have.
Well, you can defend Giannis. You can't defend Embiid, but it's a matter of whether Embiid is going to play.
Is he going to play?
Embiid is yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like the whole point.
If he's engaging,
they're saying Embiid is Giannis ahead of him, but they both average 30. So someone is not doing what they're supposed to do. You know what I mean? They put up the same numbers offensively. And Embiid has a way better bag. So, yeah.
Yeah. Embiid is shaky on that list for me because, like I said, this is where you get into the Kobe Shaq stuff. Like, I truly believe at this point, you have to get Embiid upset in order to get that greatness out of him. He has to feel slighted in order to get that greatness out of him. He's not coming to the arena trying to be that great. And that's my issue with him right now. Like I'm starting to feel about him like, hey, I've come to feel about Shaq in the sense that I feel like Shaq wasted an opportunity to be the greatest player to ever play the game.
That's a hell of a compliment.
Just because he was so dominant and he wasn't even trying. He wasn't going to nobody to get work on footwork and stuff like that. I think he saw one person when he was in college for his free throws, and I forgot who it was, the basketball player, and he was trying to convince Shaq to do the underhanded free throws, and Shaq's like, "Nah, that I can't look cool like that."
That's Rick Barry.
And that's Rick Barry. He saw Rick Barry for free throws, and that's probably the only person he ever saw off season to work on his game. Otherwise, he was making a movie, doing a rap album, partying, being a DJ, having fun.
I'm a Shaq guy, so I'm always going to defend Shaq. Could he have been better? Yes, but I mean, he had a hell of a career. Dwight Howard and Amara Stoudemire went to see Olajuwon. How did that work out? You know what I mean? So
injuries, both of them.
No, Dwight Howard career high is like 22 a game. That's 22 a game, bro.
Referees had LASIK. You guys
you're getting into Patrick Ewing territory. 22 a game. You're getting into Patrick Ewing territory.
That's what Dwight Howard got you, and he went to those.
Okay. Dwight Howard got me an MVP, right? Did Dwight Howard get me an MVP?
No, they weren't that bad. No. They weren't that bad. They were bad, but they weren't that bad in the voting process. I think he probably finished second, though.
You know, Patrick Ewing didn't get you one. Just in case you're looking that up. We know that.
No, because I saw a comparison the other day, prime Dwight Howard versus prime Embiid. Who you want?
Embiid. Not close.
Give me mid-level Embiid over prime Dwight.
Gives me the same amount of rebounds and assists and like 10 more points.
Well, fellas, let me ask you this. NBA, I believe they're considering new rules for next season. One of the things I wanted to ask you guys about is, what do you think about the rule that for future awards for MVP or NBA, stuff like that, they're saying that they're going to require players to play at least 65 games in order to be eligible for those type of awards. What do you guys think about that?
I gave up on the MVP and all the other awards a while ago. I don't care. I think it's a farce. Stand by that. The whole award system is a farce. They give it to whoever they want to. Doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.
Phil.
just going minimum requirements. I like it. I give you that much with them, but like Pete said, we get into subjectivity. I mean, with the whole Joker aspect, I think it's soured me. So, will it matter? 60 games, 80 games, 40 games, and pick who you like anyway.
Kyle, where you at with it?
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good to set some sort of parameters, for these awards. I think, we see this in just about every, to win the batting title, you have to have a certain minimum number of at bats. I think to win the scoring title, you have to have played a certain minimum number of games. So, I'm fine with it from that perspective, but just this whole award situation that we have going on, I'm over it. I really am. I think as a fan, and I'm curious, as a fan, you're a Lakers fan. I think both of you guys are Lakers fan. P, you kind of just float around to wherever and whatnot. As a fan, would you rather see the best player on your team win an MVP or an NBA championship?
Championship, easy.
Championship.
And so, as a fan, for me, if I was a Sixers fan, I wouldn't care about the MVP. I want the championship. If I was a Nuggets fan, I wouldn't care about the MVP. I want the championship. And so, for the NBA to spend so much time focused on this, for the media to have spent so much time focused on this, I kind of don't. It doesn't jive with me. It's not a big deal. Jokic winning the last two MVPs. Come on. Is it a big deal? Is it really a big deal in the grand scheme of things?
Yeah, because I think since I've been watching basketball, I've always admired the alpha male in the room. I've always had. So be it as it may, when Magic won,
but that doesn't.
Jordan
the
won,
MVP is
Karl
not the
Malone
alpha
won.
male in the room.
Well, subjectively, it turns out to be as such. I mean, people go by stats, which you're thinking of, but I thought it was pretty much that. I thought it was the alpha male, the actual best player in the league should have gotten that award each year, regardless of what. You know what I'm saying? That's what I thought it stood on, and then wins helped it. So, I mean,
wasn't the
I
case
could be
a
wrong.
long time ago. We knew that was the case when Michael Jordan wasn't winning the MVP every year. I mean, we've known that this is the case. The best player doesn't win MVP. This is not anything new, and so I don't
was for a while until people got tired of it, though. I don't think there was. I think having that. I think the only reason why that was the case because the monotony of it. I mean, I thought that, to me, I thought it would push people to have better seasons. I like Karl Malone, and then somebody who was somewhat close to having something close to Jordan, then you would just give it to them. But yeah, sure. I used to love the fact that the guy won it every year. I had no problem with that.
I think for the
because
players,
that was the standard
a lot.
of the league. No one could beat him, and he was the best. I think so.
I think for the players, I think it means a lot to the players. As a fan, for me, it doesn't mean much to me.
It meant a lot to me, even growing up playing. Like Magic was my guy, and at the time he was the MVP. So, like,
can you tell me sixth man of the year?
I don't know.
Last year, who was the sixth man of the year last year?
Who was the defensive player of the league last year?
Oh, no,
I mean, both I have to think of.
Yeah, I just don't care.
Look,
who was the most improved player last year?
Nobody cares. We don't care. Like, past the moment, we don't care. These things don't mean anything. NBA champion, you can tell me. That matters. You could probably tell me the last 10 NBA champions. You can't tell me Even last year's six-man player of the year. Those awards don't
but
matter.
you could tell you, but you could tell who the MVP was though. And you asked me,
can you tell me the last 10? Can you tell me the last 10 MVPs?
Times, like,
can you tell me the last 10 MVPs?
Run them off. Now, if I have some issues, but because of my age now, if I have some issues running off the champions too.
Joker, Giannis. Which one called Steph got 2. So that's 6 right there. Russ got 1. Which one call it? I think Harden gets 1.
Yeah, but it would take me time to give you champions too, though. I'll get them, but it'll take me some time. I'm old.
But yeah, I think we all agree though that the championship's definitely way more in the scale as far as cachet for the player, for even an individual player.
Yeah, I think I like the new rule that they're considering just because I like the fact that it's in some form is addressing load management and at least trying to address it a little bit in the sense that, hey, if you want to be eligible for the MVP, like I wish this happened this year. Like Embiid, you want it bad enough, you're gonna have to pay 65 for more games.
Yeah,
Point blank.
That's one player. That's one player.
No, but Embiid.
Kawhi doesn't care about that. Kawhi doesn't care about that.
It's kind of what they do with the All-Star game. If you have to force them to play, they just not built. At some point, you just have to realize some dudes ain't built. You know what I mean? So if I have to coerce you to play basketball and you're a professional basketball player, I don't care.
But my thing is like this, Pete. You're talking about, and let's stay on Embiid. First 2-3 years, he's not playing at all.
Right.
And then every year since then, he's missed at least 20 games.
Okay.
And you crying about being the MVP. All right. If you want to be the MVP, back-to-back MVP, because we're assuming he's going to get it this year. If you want to be back-to-back MVP like Joker did, Embiid, you're going to have to play 65 games and get your body ready for it. Yes, I'm all for that.
But I feel like if you're not self-motivated,
yeah, because when I averaged 31 points and when he was motivating 31 and 10, about 10 points more than the other guy, and lost the MVP and was first in the East. He lost. Why should you be motivated?
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense.
At the end of the day, like I feel like if he wins it, they're gonna say, "What did you do in the playoffs?" At the end of the day, he got to win a chip.
Definitely,
really solidify himself. But I'm not into like trying to like coerce these dudes to play. If you don't want to play, stay home.
I mean, so what do we say about load management now?
Yeah,
the era of load management.
Load management is for the weak. That's what I say. Load management is for the weak. And then when they do play, they're going to crumble anyway because they're not used to playing basketball. You're not going to get better at basketball by not playing basketball. So yeah, I feel like 70% of the league do. It takes care of themselves. You know what I mean? It's Darwinism.
Calculated load management is fine. I think, if it's right now, we got 1-2 games left in the regular season. You give a guy a break, you give a guy a rest for these couple games before the playoff starts. I have no issue with that. If it's a February game, Philly and Boston, or if it's that was 2 weeks ago, Philly and Denver played, and you sit Joel Embiid. That's shameful. That's shameful. That's a big time game against another player that is up for MVP, and you sit Joel Embiid. That was shameful. And I don't know who you put that on, whether you put that on Embiid, whether you put that on Doc, whether you put that on the front office, but those are the load management situations that fans have an issue with, that voters, MVP voters, should have an issue with.
Yeah, but 3 weeks prior to that, he went up there to Denver and gave him the business. That wasn't a big game. If he had sat that game too, he already gave him the business anyway. So they decided to. They want to stick it to him. So what?
All right, man.
I mean,
So
I'm saying, like,
management.
to me,
So
I mean,
don't
not even
just
about
play
load
one
management.
game.
People pick and choose. I mean, people pick and choose. Like
That's load
when they
management.
played heads up, when they played heads up, he dominated. Dude decided he didn't want to play that game. Oh well. All right. So Clay didn't play what 3/4 of a season. They won a chip. Andrew Wiggins missed darn near. We're gonna say 40% of this season, 30% of this season, and if they win a chip this year, what are they gonna say this year?
Legitimately are not playing games. That's one thing.
I don't know. I don't know what legitimately is. He's healthy. Man's healthy. Wiggins is having an injury. He's out on personal leave.
Wiggins had family issues.
All right, but he's healthy.
You talking about mentally healthy?
Listen. His mind don't go over there and shoot jump shots. He could go out there and play.
All right. Okay. All right.
Wow. Okay. Hey guys, let us know what you guys think. Hit us up on social media. Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit that notification button to let us know when the next video is coming. You can also subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to the podcast. Fellas, what's on the radar?
Playoffs. Definitely playoffs. Who's going to be in? Whether or not the Lakers are, if Golden State loses, Lakers, I guess, get the 6th spot. So that's what I'm more concerned about right now. If the Lakers are going to have to go through that play-in tournament, which it looks like they probably will, because I don't think Portland's going to play anyone tomorrow. So what's up? We'll see how the Lakers are going to fend.
P, what's on your radar?
Just been doing some research on that on GPT. I think Kyle, you might have sent me the Jay-Z song that Jay-Z had nothing to do with. To artificial intelligence. It's crazy. Like I saw somewhere like you probably like we could get our 4 voices and pretty much do a podcast without us. So it's crazy. That's on my radar. And a shout out to Mo. People leave something in the comments. I was yesterday years old when I learned Flash Gordon and the Flash are 2 separate different people. Thought it was the same thing. Thought it was the same thing. Shout out to Ming the Merciless. Yesterday years old. Count that out. Did not know there was a difference.
Oh,
Kyle, what's on your radar?
Not much. Baseball season back. So the Mets are home for the Marlins.
Whoa.
So
you can watch the Yankees if you want to feel good about being in New York. The Mets will be downright depressing.
Is Verlander playing this year?
Who?
Think Verlander is going to play?
Oh yeah, injured. It's been a tough start for the Mets. Yeah, we won't talk about that. But just watching the last couple of days of the NBA, want to see how the seedings shake out in the West. I'm hoping we get that Phoenix Golden State first round series. That would be exciting. So I'll be watching that, and the Masters tournament. The Masters tournament going on. Brooks Koepka, 12 under right now, is in the lead. So I'll be watching that. Tiger made the cut, if anybody was wondering. He's been not playing well, but playing well considering, all things.
Like 2 under, right?
All things considered.
I'm not
sure. I'm not sure where he was at.
2 over?
Yeah. On my radar, playoffs. Excited to see new movies, new television series coming out soon. Saw that Blue Beetle movie trailer. Looked real good. Looked like DC trying to get it right. This is our first foray into the James Gunn DC universe. So we'll see if he can get it right. Which we'll call it also Spider-Verse 2. Real interested in that Secret Invasion television series, Nick Fury.
Yes.
That looks like it's going to be a problem.
That looks out of sight.
So and I'm hearing good news about Equalizer 3 movie. it sounds like it's going to be a banger, another banger. Belated Good Friday. Happy Passover.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter to everybody that celebrates it. Happy Ramadan
Yes.
for the Muslim brothers
Definitely.
and sisters
Absolutely.
doing their thing. Wherever you at, hey, be safe, and we out.